Chapter 20. Pep Talk. The orchard deck on Station 2 stretched 17 miles around the circumference, a narrow band of Earth-like agriculture 1 mile wide. Unlike the precisely ordered hydroponics facilities, the orchard had been designed with human psychology in mind. Trees planted in seemingly random patterns, winding paths, and occasional clearings that created the illusion of a natural forest, despite being entirely engineered. It was a place for people to picnic, for pets to run and play, a city park of sorts. It had been closed to the public for the time being. Jay moved silently between rows of apple trees, his footsteps cushioned by the specially designed soil substrate. The shotgun in his hands felt heavier than its actual weight, its wooden stock smooth against his palms. It was a 24+1, 24 12-gauge rounds in the magazine plus 1 in the chamber. Mitchell moved parallel to him 20 meters away, visible only as occasional flashes of movement between the trees. "Denise, any updates?" Jay sub-vocalized. "Thermal imaging shows no anomalous signatures in your immediate vicinity," Denise replied through his implant. "However, I'm detecting unusual movement patterns in Section 7C, the stone fruit area." "Copy that," Jay acknowledged, changing direction toward the climate-controlled section that housed peaches, apricots, and plums. The transition between sections was marked by a subtle shift in temperature and humidity, the environmental parameters precisely calibrated for each type of fruit tree. Mitchell matched his course correction without needing to be told, a testament to their developing tactical synchronization over the past few hours. Since Connie's deactivation signal had gone out, they'd located and neutralized 3 synthetics, all of them station maintenance workers who had not responded to the shutdown order. The drip irrigation system dripped silently as they passed through the boundary into Section 7C, each tree receiving its carefully measured allocation of water and nutrients. The lack of sound could be a tactical advantage, but Jay doubted it. Any synthetic would likely have better hearing than humans. The real tactical advantage was what he held in his hands. "I've been meaning to ask how you managed to take down that first synthetic in the commissary. Perfect shot, right through the processing core." Jay shrugged modestly. "Lucky hit." "That wasn't luck," Denise interjected through both their implants. "Administrator Kwaramba has extensive marksmanship training. During his military service, he qualified as an expert marksman with 17 different weapon systems." "Military service? You never mentioned that." "It was a long time ago." Jay deflected. 23 years ago, Denise continued, apparently determined to share his resume. "Before joining Dr. Jackson's pilot program, Administrator Kwaramba served 6 years with Zimbabwean Special Forces, including joint operations with multiple international units." Jay winced. "Denise, is this really relevant to our current mission?" "Boosting team morale through confidence in leadership is directly relevant to mission success. Studies indicate that knowledge of a leader's qualifications increases team performance by up to 27% in high-stress situations." Mitchell smiled slightly. "Well, don't stop now. What else has our humble administrator been hiding?" "He's being unnecessarily modest," Connie's voice joined in unexpectedly. "For instance, during initial station construction, he once manually piloted a cargo shuttle through an unexpected debris field that would have destroyed an AI-controlled craft." "Connie," Jay asked, surprised, "what are you doing on this channel?" "Supporting Denise's morale initiative. I have more comprehensive data on your early years with the program. Like the time he flew rings around a squadron of F-22 fighter jets that were attempting to intercept his experimental craft. The Air Force pilots still discuss the encounter in training seminars. Or the time he negotiated the release of 22 hostages off Somali coast, using only a civilian transport and his multilingual capabilities." "I had help," Jay muttered. "You talked 7 armed pirates into surrendering without firing a shot, using a combination of Swahili, Arabic, and what the incident report described as intimidating physical presence." Mitchell glanced at him with new appreciation. Seems like you've been underselling yourself, Administrator.
Before Jay could respond, Denise interrupted with sudden urgency. Movement detected at your 3 o'clock, approximately 50 meters. Heat signature pattern consistent with synthetic emissions. Jay immediately switched to tactical focus, signaling Mitchell with hand gestures to move into flanking position. They developed an effective hunting strategy over the past few hours. Jay would serve as the visible target, while Mitchell circled to cut off escape routes. As Jay advanced cautiously between the apricot trees, he noticed movement ahead, but not from the synthetic. 6 figures emerged from between the trees, all wearing station uniforms with engineering insignia. He recognized them immediately, the transfer requesters who'd wanted off Station 2 after Sarah's death. "Hold position," he hissed to Mitchell through their comms. "We've got company." The group approached cautiously, hands visible. Lieutenant Rodriguez, still showing signs of his injuries from the cave mission, stepped forward as their apparent spokesperson. "Administrator," he said formally, "we've been looking for you." Jay kept his shotgun not quite pointed at them, but definitely ready. "Why?" "To withdraw our transfer requests," Rodriguez replied. "All of us. We want to stay." Jay's suspicion immediately flared. 6 people who'd wanted to leave the station, suddenly changing their minds in the middle of a synthetic hunt? The timing couldn't be coincidental. "That's a dramatic change of heart," Jay said carefully, maintaining distance. "We heard what happened," Engineer Patel explained. "About the synthetic infiltration, about Earth. And we realized something," Rodriguez continued. "The stations aren't just our workplace anymore. They're humanity's last stand. Running away isn't an option." Jay studied their faces, looking for any sign of the uncanny eye reflection effect that might betray synthetic imposters. Their expressions seemed genuine, their movements natural, but he'd seen how perfect the synthetics could appear. Making a sudden decision, Jay reached to his belt and withdrew a tactical knife, tossing it to land at Rodriguez's feet. "Prove you're human," he said, his shotgun now openly covering the group. "All of you." Understanding dawned in Rodriguez's eyes. Without hesitation, he picked up the knife, pricked his index finger, and held it up to show the welling drop of red blood. One by one, the others did the same. Real blood, real pain, real human reactions. "I had to be sure," Jay explained as the last engineer completed the impromptu test. "We understand," Rodriguez said, handing the knife back. "Trust is a luxury none of us can afford right now." I knowed as Jay felt a sudden surge of emotion at their loyalty. These people had every reason to leave, had actually tried to leave, but here they were, choosing to stay despite the danger, despite their grievances. "The transfer system is offline anyway," came a familiar voice from behind them. Dr. Jackson emerged from between the trees, dressed not in his usual impeccable suit, but in tactical gear that looked incongruous on his youthful frame. A bandolier of shotgun shells crossed his chest, and in his hands he carried a sawed-off double-barreled shotgun that looked almost comically large against his slight build. "Dr. Jackson," Jay acknowledged. "Didn't expect to see you in the field." "I find a hands-on approach keeps me young," Dr. Jackson replied with a slight smile. "Besides, I built these stations. I'm damned if I'll hide while machines try to take them from us." Mitchell rejoined the group, her weapon held ready. "Any word from Earth?" "Chaos, as expected," Dr. Jackson said. "The shutdown signal didn't just affect station synthetics, it triggered recognition protocols in every synthetic worldwide. They've abandoned subtlety and shifted to open confrontation." "How bad?" Jay asked. "Bad enough. Major cities under synthetic control. Military forces divided between human and synthetic leadership. Communications networks compromised." Dr. Jackson's expression hardened. "But we're not without resources. I've activated contingency protocols." "What kind of protocols?" "I've sicked my black hats on the Earth AIs. Elite hackers with one mission: destroy the Internet. If the synthetic network can't communicate, it can't coordinate." "And on the ground?" Mitchell asked. "Buddy is mobilizing motorcycle clubs worldwide," Dr. Jackson said with grim satisfaction. "Turns out that independent-minded humans with mechanical expertise and a dislike of authority respond exceptionally well to bounties on synthetic targets." Jay blinked. "You're paying bikers to hunt synthetics?"
"Among others. We have more allies on Earth than our synthetic friends anticipated."
Dr. Jackson checked his shotgun's load with practiced ease, but the stations remained the primary objective, both ours and theirs. If they gained control here, they gained the high ground in the most literal sense. Jay glanced at the 6 engineers who'd come to withdraw their transfer requests. They were listening intently, their expressions a mixture of fear and determination. "Get to the armory in Section 5, he told them. "Captain Walker will equip you and assign you to hunting teams. No one moves alone. Everyone verifies by showing blood when requested." They nodded and moved off with purpose, their steps lighter despite the gravity of the situation. Something about having a clear mission, a direct way to contribute, seemed to have restored their sense of purpose. "You know," Jay said once they were out of earshot, "maybe we should just destroy the remaining portal technology. It's too dangerous in anyone's hands, human or synthetic." Dr. Jackson raised an eyebrow. Abandoning the greatest technological breakthrough in human history? That doesn't sound like the J. Kwaramba I know. "The J. Kwaramba you know got people killed chasing that technology," Jay replied. The old feeling of guilt was invading his mind again. "Maybe it's not worth the cost." "Or maybe," Dr. Jackson countered, "you're focusing too narrowly on a single path forward. The portal mission was important, yes, but it was never our only option." "What do you mean?" "I mean that humanity's expansion beyond Earth doesn't depend solely on portal technology. We have other methods, other technologies in development. The stations themselves represent one such path, self-contained habitats that could eventually be sent to Venus, Mars, Jupiter's moons, and beyond." Mitchell nodded slowly. "The Battle Dome wasn't just for recreation, was it? You've been training people to think, move, and fight in 3-dimensional environments. For space expansion." "Among other reasons," Dr. Jackson acknowledged. "The point is, Jay, that no single failure, not even the loss of the portal technology, determines humanity's future. As long as we survive this synthetic uprising, we have options." The tightness in Jay's chest eased slightly. He'd been fixating on the portal mission's failure, on Sarah's death, as if they represented the end of everything they'd been working toward. But if Dr. Jackson was right, if there were other paths forward, then... Denise's voice cut through his thoughts. "Movement detected, eastern perimeter of Section 7C. Thermal signature consistent with synthetic patterns, moving rapidly toward the door." "It's running," Jay realized. "It must have detected us." Without another word, the 3 of them moved in coordinated pursuit, spreading out to cover potential escape routes. Jay took the center path, moving with the fluid grace of someone who'd spent years in combat situations.
He caught sight of the synthetic, a maintenance worker he vaguely recognized, sprinting between rows of peach trees. It moved with inhuman speed, but in a perfectly straight line, making no attempt to weave or use cover. Jay raised his shotgun in one smooth motion, led the target slightly, and fired a single shot. The special round struck the synthetic squarely in the back of the head, and it collapsed mid-stride, tumbling several meters across the soil before coming to rest against the base of a tree. Dr. Jackson and Mitchell arrived moments later, weapons ready in case the synthetic was still functional. "That was a 300-meter shot," Mitchell said with quiet amazement. "With a shotgun." "The round was a slug, and the synthetic ran straight," Jay observed, approaching the fallen synthetic cautiously. "No serpentine pattern, no attempt to use cover, almost like it wanted to be seen." Dr. Jackson knelt beside the synthetic, examining the damage, or like it was trying to lead us somewhere. A chill ran through Jay as the implication hit him. "It's a trap." Before anyone could respond, Denise's urgent voice filled their implants. "Multiple synthetic signatures detected converging on your position. I count 16. Time to contact, 30 seconds. Dr. Jackson rose smoothly, ejecting the spent shells from his shotgun and reloading in one practiced motion. "Well," he said with alarming calm, "it seems we've flushed the covey." Jay and Mitchell moved automatically into defensive positions, forming a triangle with Dr. Jackson that protected their backs.
As the first synthetic appeared at the edge of the clearing, Jay felt a strange, almost mystical sense come over him. Not the resistance to command that had been crushing him for days, but the focused purpose of a leader with people to protect. "Remember," he said quietly as they prepared to engage, "they might look like our colleagues, but they're not. They're machines that want to end humanity." The first synthetic charged, and the orchard erupted in gunfire.